Picture this. Donald Trump walks into the United Nations building. The escalator beneath his feet grinds to a halt. He gets to the podium. The teleprompter goes black. Now, any leader would panic. Not Trump. He laughed, shrugged it off, and proceeded to deliver a speech so brutal and so devastating that diplomats were shifting in their seats like school children caught cheating. He called their climate predictions stupid. He said renewables are a joke. He accused the UN of funding invasions instead of stopping them. And that was just the warm-up. What he said next about Europe's migration crisis left the entire assembly speechless. Don't move a muscle. We've got all the highlights for you. Now, let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind the big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Their precious metal specialists are standing by to answer your questions and walk you through every step. Simple, safe, easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com today. That's nextnewsgold.com. It's time to protect what you have built. And when you call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347, tell them that Gary Franchi sent you. Geiger Capital posting this. This is insane. As Trump arrived at the UN, the escalator stopped working the moment he stepped on it. Then the teleprompter stopped the moment he got up to the podium to speak. Watch the moment. President Trump going on the escalator. And it stops. Look at that. It breaks. How much money do we give the UN? How much money do we give them? They can't get an escalator to work? Here's the moment the teleprompter broke.
Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. Very much appreciated.
I was hoping he'd say you're fired, but, you know, we'll get to Kamala Harris in a second. Here's President Trump just destroying the green energy policies.
Is like the primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune. They're making a fortune. European electricity bills are now 4 to 5 times more expensive than those in China, and 2 to 3 times higher than the United States. And our bills are coming way down. You probably see that our gasoline prices are way down. You know, we have an expression, drill, baby, drill, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be much lower in a year from now. But they've come way down over the last year. As a result, every air conditioner is like very uncommon to see one in some of these countries because the electric costs are so high. So while the U.S. has approximately 1,300 heat-related deaths annually, that's a lot, Europe loses more than 175,000 people to heat deaths each year because the costs are so expensive you can't turn on an air conditioner. What is that all about? That's not Europe. That's not the Europe that I love and know. All in the name of pretending to stop the global warming hoax.
And then people die as a result of it. Here's President Trump warning world leaders.
Things, you know, if you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. If you don't get away from this green...
Your country is going to fail. Here he blasts renewables.
The falsely named energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. And they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies. And most of them are built in China, and I give China a lot of credit. They build them, but they very few wind farms. So why is it that they build them and they send them all over the world, but they barely use them? You know what they use? Coal. They use gas. They use almost anything, but they don't like wind. But they sure as hell like selling the windmills. Europe, on the other hand, has a long way to go, with many countries being on the brink of destruction because of the green energy agenda. And I give a lot of credit to Germany. Germany was being led down a very sick path, both on immigration, by the way, and on energy. They were going green, and they were going bankrupt. And the new leadership came in, and they went back to where they were, with fossil fuel and with nuclear, which is good. It's now safe, and you can do it properly. But they went back to where they were, and they opened up a lot of different plants, energy-producing plants, and they're doing well. I give Germany a lot of credit for that. They've said this is a disaster, what's happening. They were going all green. All green is all bankrupt. That's what it represents. And it's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Energy is...
I'm here to tell the truth. Oh, yeah. Oh, here he goes after the terrorists.
As forests to protect our citizens. I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as forests. And you see this, and you see it happening right before your eyes. Let's put it this way. People don't like taking big loads of drugs in boats anymore. There aren't too many boats that are traveling on the seas by Venezuela. They tend not to want to travel very quickly anymore. And we've virtually stopped drugs coming into our country by sea. We call them the water drugs. They kill hundreds of thousands of people. I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as foreign terrorist organizations, along with two bloodthirsty transnational gangs, probably the worst gangs anywhere in the world, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua is from Venezuela, by the way. Such organizations torture, maim, mutilate, and murder with impunity. They're the enemies of all humanity. And for this reason, we've recently begun using the supreme power of the United States military to destroy Venezuelan terrorists and trafficking networks led by Nicolas Maduro. To every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America, please be warned that we will blow you out of existence. That's what we're doing. We have no choice. Can't let it happen. They're destroying. I believe we lost 300,000 people last year to drugs, 300,000. Fentanyl and other drugs. Each boat that we sink carries drugs that would kill more than 25,000 Americans. We will not let that happen. To protect our...
They're going to blow them out of the water. We've already shown you two of them. 2 declassified videos recently. Here he talks about detaining and deporting.
And deporting every. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore. This was a humanitarian act for all involved, because on the trips up, thousands of people a week were dying. Women were being raped. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Raped, horribly beaten, raped. On the trip up, the journey up, it was a long walk. It was a long, arduous journey, indeed. And it was also a historic victory against human trafficking throughout the region. What we did was a victory, and we saved so many lives of people that wouldn't make the journey. That journey was loaded up with death. Loaded up with death. Dead bodies all along the roads of jungles to get up. They go through jungles, they go through areas so hot you couldn't breathe. They were dying of suffocation. Areas so hot that you couldn't breathe. Dead bodies all over. By them not coming, we're saving tremendous numbers of lives. My people have done a fantastic job in doing what they did, and the American public agrees with it. I mean, I was very proud to see this morning I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Part of it is because of what we've done on the border. I guess the other part is what we've done on the economy. Joe Biden's policies empowered murderous gangs, human smugglers, child traffickers, drug cartels, and prisoners from all over the world. The previous administration also lost nearly 300,000 children. Think of that. They lost more than 300,000 children, little children, who were trafficked into the United States on the Biden watch, many of whom have been raped, exploited, and abused, and sold. Sold. Nobody talks about that. The fake news doesn't write about it. With many others, young children who are missing or dead. And we found a lot of these children, and we're sending them back, and we've been sending them back to their parents. They said, nobody knows who they are. They said, where do you come from? And they'll give us a country, and we'll find out, and we'll figure it out, and we'll bring them back to their homes.
President Trump finding the children, dismantling the networks. Here he says that Europe is in serious trouble.
Illegal aliens. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained. Europe is in
unsustainable migration destroying Europe. Not only here he is about the UN not solving problems.
For us to solve. Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. Not only is
financing invasions. Kamala Harris decided to go on The View, serving up a word salad while attacking President Trump's UN address.
It's about, I don't know, this person and what we just saw in terms of a presentation at the United Nations. I talk about it. I talked about, remember in the debate?
Yeah.
They laughed at him the last time he was in front of the UN.
Yeah, this time
you you remember just about, I don't know, several weeks ago, that meeting with Xi and Kim Jong-un and Putin?
Yeah.
You think they're not laughing?
Oh, they are.
As they create a new axis of partnership, what's happening? You bring people into the Oval Office. I have spent a lot of time in the Oval Office. I have spent time in the Oval Office with the president, receiving our allies and our friends from around the world. And consistently, we have seen Donald Trump bring people into the Oval Office, be they a United States governor or the head of a state of a friendly nation, and embarrass them and ridicule and demean them. That is not what a president does. This individual who occupies our White House right now,
The People's House,
has decided that he will be an emperor in his mind who will demonstrate his power by demeaning and belittling and making people feel small. But this is this person.
No, that's not what he does. He exerts leadership, something that you will never have, Kamala, and we saw it on display at the United Nations. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, Donald Trump just told the truth. No diplomat has dared speak in that building for decades. Europe's prisons are 72% foreign nationals in Switzerland, 50% in Germany. Their streets are war zones, their leaders paralyzed by political correctness while their nations collapse. In the UN, they're not stopping it, they're funding it. Trump called them out directly. You write strongly worded letters, then do nothing. Empty words don't stop invasions. Action does. But here's the kicker. Even with their machines breaking down around him, Trump delivered the most powerful UN speech in history. He warned them their green energy scam will destroy nations. He demanded they stop funding border invasions. He called for ending biological weapons development. The establishment wanted him silenced. Instead, he dominated. So here's my question. Should the U.S. completely defund the United Nations? Yes or no? Sound off below. Show your American pride with our merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.